Hello and welcome to a Creative Shock video. Of course, it's me, Mr. E, with you at TN, and tonight we're not going head-to-head in the arena, but instead we're doing a tier list for the current season. We thought it's a good time to try something new, so please upvote the shit out of this content. Justin, I'm ready to make a tier list with you now. I'm a bit nervous. I am a caster. I haven't, won many games ever like you have. But I think I have a good understanding of where we're at right now, and I thought it's a good time to make a tier list. How are you feeling about doing this tonight?
Well, not gonna lie, doing tier lists tends to lead to a lot of controversy, so I don't do them often. But I also think
Yes.
it's a good time to do one, just because there's a lot of things going on, a lot of meta movements after a certain ban list change, which
Yeah.
I guess we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, it is a good time to kind of just say like I guess this is. I will preface this video with saying that this is like based on our own speculation, and please don't rip into us too hard because I guarantee you this is going to spark controversy.
Yeah, I'm happy to rip into me. Let's argue all the time in comments because I know comments build publicity. So please leave Justin. He's a nice guy helping the community. I'm happy to take all the grunt. All right, so let's have some fun with it. The first thing, I just picked decks from looking at Fractal IO, trying to look at the most common decks we've seen throughout the season. We've made that there. Then Justin was like, "What about Jin?" I said, "What about Jin?" And so we've said that Jin sits at the bottom, so it goes S A B C Jin. If anybody can perform really well in Jin, I'd love to hear about it. But you ain't doing it right now this season. That's first thing. Let's get that out there. If you're a Jin believer, this ain't the video for you. All right.
Like we've ripped into the biggest one already.
Prove me
Maybe one day
wrong.
we'll explain
Okay,
why.
prove me
Yeah,
wrong.
maybe
You know what
one
I
day
mean?
we'll explain why we think that. But for now, Jin is he's a little dead.
Yeah.
I won't lie, he's struggling. For a model guy, he's dead.
Yeah, true.
He's staying in the grave this time around.
Okay, so let's talk about the biggest things right now is the ban list, which was for Rile of the Abyss, got removed, and of course Thurible got removed as well. So that has really changed. We thought by starting with, and I'll go through it, but the decks we're looking at here were Ensoul, Crux, any version of Crux and Lorraine, Merlin, Ciel, Ardent Ciel, Vanitas with the horses, Serene, Fire, Luxem, and Suzaku were kind of the decks we think were affected by this. And I guess that's where we're going to start.
Yeah, we also had Jin, but Jin was
Stop
also
it,
heavily
dude.
affected to the point where he's actually got his own tier at the bottom of the tier list.
Okay.
So yeah, Jin kind of really needed the Spectre package to be able to hit level 3 with enough cards to really do a lot of things. Otherwise, he struggles a lot. The problem with Jin is his level 1 and 2 champions do nothing. So that's why he's kind
Justin,
of...
stop talking
Now
about
that he's
Jin,
lost
man.
the
We
engine...
know he's dead, dude.
Sorry,
Just let him die, man.
sorry, man. I'm just giving a bit of context as to why he's dead. But yeah, basically he's borderline just very hard to play. Like borderline unplayable. Yeah, he just gets level 3 with no cards and can't play the game. So yeah, he's in his own tier above below everything else.
All right, let's talk about. I put straight away. I'm going to start with where it was, and then maybe it shifts. But Spirit Blade, Ensoul decks have been dominating. That's just a fact. Since Rile's been coming out this season, it became so. It didn't matter how much you tried to counter it. You kind of just had to play with it. Things with Fluffy Shopkeep, things with the Rile and the Liminal Guides. It became so strong. There were some combinations with Rending Flames. It dominated. Question is, does it stay at S tier or does it move to A tier? And something else takes over to S tier because of the recent nerfs to Rile. Thoughts?
You want my thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, I think Ensoul, if we're talking about specifically Ensoul, it's kind of like a C tier deck now. And the reason being because Ensoul costs
C!
6.
You're dropping it
Yeah.
all the way down already. Just one guard.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I actually am. And reason being because Ensoul costs 6, right? You have to have enough influence after reaching level 3 to play it. It's kind of the card itself, by the way, is borderline like very difficult to actually play without getting like negated by a water card, without getting incapped by a Tristan. It's hard to play. So unfortunately, I would put it at C. That being said, there are other versions of Crux Lorraine which are good, which is why there's actually a separate picture there for Spirit Blade Ascension and like other versions of Crux Lorraine because they're doing fine. They've actually cut on Ensoul from their list.
Justin, you said to me, you're like, I'm a bit nervous doing a tier list. And the first thing you do, you take the most loved deck of the season and you put it just above Jin.
Yeah, true that. Well,
hey man,
it is what it is,
hey
man.
okay.
It is what it is.
It is
Ensoul
what
had
it
its
is.
time.
It
Yep.
is what it
All
is.
these
You're playing
Crux decks had this
Ensoul
time,
this
but-
weekend at any regionals. It is what it is, okay?
Yeah, man. The people
Holy.
told the specters to be banned. They wanted this.
Holy, how did it go? I want to look at the stats. We're gonna talk. I'm gonna find the other stats of how it went in the recent like events, Mr. C tier. But okay, let's then shaft. Okay, well then, if you're gonna go Ascension, then surely then Ascension still performs at A tier because it's got a lot more engines of draw. It's around the Pendragons. It's around the ability for Spirit Blade. You're flexing your Prismatic Edge. It doesn't get affected too much by the draw, but still effective as a strong deck. But again, I guess mainly, are we saying that, Rile was such a big effort that other decks try to take over it? I mean, C tier? I would say A. I'm going to A it.
Yeah, no, I agree with this one because this is if it's not clear, this is the Crux Knight Lorraine deck that uses the only Crux cards are like Cruxite, Pendragon, and Spirit Blade Ascension.
Yep.
And it works well because I think a big part of it is Fluffy Shopkeep. Fluffy Shopkeep letting you throw out swords. Oh, and also Clarent. Both of those cards let you throw out swords so that your Crux Knight, the Rain, starts swinging for like 4 or 5 every turn without needing to play the Spirit Blade Ensoul. So that's the difference, and that's why I think it's a solid deck because you don't need that many cards when you hit level 3 to start doing stuff, which is why I can play even without Ensoul.
Does it move to
even
S?
without the Spectre package.
S?
I think it's fine at A. It was stronger with Spectres, but now it's like still a good deck. It'd be an A tier in my opinion.
Another Crux, because the only element that matters this season is Crux. Merlin, where we at with Merlin, the majestic spirit.
Crux
Interesting.
is fine.
A again, like I think it's not. Maybe B because I think Spirit Blade Ascension is better than the Merlin whole scene. And there's a lot of cards that can remove Spirit nowadays, so it's not as strong compared to the damage of the level up from level 3. So you're talking about Spirit Blade Ruler, which has such a like aggro space that like there's a lot of negate cards that kind of stop the Spirit. But I guess the half damage is kind of cool. I'm like B plus, maybe A. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. I don't know which one's stronger out of the two Cruxes. I feel like they're roughly at the same power level. But I guess for now we can leave it at A.
More people are playing Fire Crux Lorraine in more events. Like there are a few Merlins. I mean, in the recent Merlin did perform well. They're pretty similar. I think more people are comfortable on the Crux Lorraine than they are on the Majestic Spirit. So I think it's pretty even.
I guess so. Yeah. I feel like Crux Lorraine gets more value immediately after hitting level 3. Merlin needs a few turns to ramp up, so maybe Merlin would be put at B tier as opposed to Crux, which is A.
And I think too, there's things like being able to eat float. Like float is already there's so many people running sensor, right? So like they can't consume their float, but you can consume their float, right? So you can censor and then still eat their float, right? Which is great. So
that's true. Actually, the DG to Merlin 2 is still extremely strong as a player.
Yeah, because you
especially now that people have less float available.
Because it banishes the card first and then consumes it is the interaction, I believe. So like that kind of still is niche and quite nice.
Yes, we can leave it at A then.
Ardent Ciel. This is like you don't know this is around this like I really can't remember the name of the card here that does the is it Baleful? It's not Baleful Ablation. It's
Baleful when mixed with Advent of the Stormcaller is quite
It's a
that
fast
combo
spell.
is still like so good. 15 damage fast speed is insane.
It hasn't been performing that well, and I think taking out the Rile of Abyss, I think it struggles a bit, right?
I honestly disagree.
Wow.
Because Ciel is one of those decks that actually has another card that can act as like a very good engine, which is Flum Sorcel. So like now that you've taken out the Rile, you just replace it with Flum Sorcel, so you can still run effectively 8 copies of Creative Shock, although it's a bit slower. But I think Ciel is in a very good spot, and I think there's a lot of unexplored tech with Ciel. Even Water Ciel did really well. I know Champion Gaming came second in the recent online regionals, which was 125 players. I think that Ciel is like there's a lot of unexplored space with Ciel. You don't have to play Baleful and Advent. You can play all kinds of things. Even the attack based Ciels are doing really well with the what's that card called? Big Guilin Coop, I think it is. It's like
Oh, big alien
an
coop.
attack where you
Yeah.
can you can swap it out with another attack. There's definitely a lot of room for CL to be explored still, and I think it's an extremely good deck.
Do you think going into it then you would still put it as A tier? Like we're talking about players watching this and going, yeah, like I think it's a deck I can learn, or you think it's like it's sitting at B, I think it could be A, or you think it's A and it could be S if people really start to master it?
I'm of the opinion it's S tier, or like like somewhere between A and S.
It hasn't won any events. When was the last event it's won?
Yeah, but also how much have people actually explored it?
But
I think there's so much.
There are people playing it. You can't S tier this. You can't S tier. I'm not like S tier.
I would. I 100%. Like, man, I think it's good.
Nobody's won an event on this. I don't think any of their sense have won on a CL, have they?
Yeah, but how many people are actually playing CL compared to the number of people playing Crux, for example?
Yeah, but the people who are playing it, aren't beating the people playing Crux.
True, but if there was an extra 100 people playing CL, that people would figure it out, and it would be extremely good.
Okay, I'll put it. I'm gonna argue A. Justin says this is like Dark Horse S. Like this is your Dark Horse. You can't do this again for your Water Diana. Okay, all right.
Look, man, you're the man with the mouse. You've got control of the mouse, so this is where we place it. You get the final say.
Holy, okay. Right, there it is. Yeah, I'm putting it A. It's A. I'm A. I think B. I don't even think we got S. I'd love to hear the comment.
Okay, well, we'll straight in the middle. Yeah,
fine.
Straight in the middle.
We have at the end of this, we have all A, dude. We're gonna have to review it.
Vanitas. We'll do a reshuffle towards the end.
The Taxes horses, like. I think first of all, it has a huge win rate, and I don't know if that's a part of that is because so many people played it in that one. I believe it was during an Ascent, and therefore it's like bumped the numbers up, or that it's still continuing across. I think this deck is crazy hard to play against. I don't think it's really on the undering. I would put this deck like I don't know. Actually, I think it's a really strong deck. When I talked to Limelight about this, he said it's really shit. So I'd love to hear your opinion. He thinks like, I'm like, what are their taxes? He's like, no, that was just like a one and done situation. You know, did Rile affect us this much? But you know, when this high rolls, I guess when you say, like when you get the straight away, get your Beseech level up, get your Delu down, and you're level 3, and you have a Delu on the board, and this person's still in spirit. It's like GG, right? Like there's nothing you can do here. What do you think?
I mean, I guess nowadays there's going to be more taunt. So the thing that beats Vanitas is some kind of taunt or intercept which you put up to stop him from hitting your face, and then you can play the game.
Yep.
It was a deck that really preyed on Spectre level 3 decks, which needed to level up. So now that there's less of those, I think Vanitas is weaker because he was an anti-meta deck. So now that there's less Spectre decks, which is what he was preying on, naturally he will become weaker, is what I think.
Less Spectre decks that you just S-tiered, and then also the other two that are A. Okay.
I mean, Crux had fluffy because Crux's win rate is actually like 55% against Vanitas or something. Like, Crux is favored into it. I don't know how CL performs into it, but I feel like it shouldn't be that bad.
So we drop it to B then?
I think it's a B tier. Because the thing is, like, if you have something like Genbu, for example, they put a 3/9 taunt up, what is Vanitas going to do against Genbu?
He's
just going to have to stare at it.
Genbu's rising. I totally forgot about Genbu, dude. And your hindered Toad, that hindered Toad that you just played. Oh my god! In our last video. Oh my god. Okay,
it's like also, if like with water can just frostbind his level 3 activation as well.
So you think it's better than CL? Sorry, than Ensoul. Better than CL. Sorry, better than Ensoul.
Yeah, I think it's better than Ensoul still.
Serene,
it's still like pretty consistent.
Serene Fire Luxem. Now, okay, guys, look at my cute design of cards. And then Justin was like, "No, we have to have 2 Luxems." And I was like, "What do you mean, Justin? We can have 1 Luxem. It's just Luxem. They play the same." And then Justin was like, "No, Jack, they're completely different." And I was like, "Justin, I don't know how to explain this to the people and viewers." He said, "Don't worry, I've got this." So Justin's going to talk us through his thoughts here. And I guess we talked with the last kind of like wild card, or one more with our Suzaku. But where does Serene Luxem go?
Okay, so short answer, I think it's like a B tier deck. Some people might argue against that, but the reason being, so one of the things we got from DTR was Liminal Guide, which kind of got overshadowed before the ban list. It was overshadowed by Rile, and it
Yeah.
was only ever included with Rile. But now people are starting to explore ways to use Liminal Guide, I guess, without Rile. And the thing about Luxem, Serene, and Zander is you can't really use the Liminal Guide without Creative Shock. So if you don't draw your Creative Shock, your Liminal Guide is kind of a dead card in your hand. And that means like some Luxem players are actually opting to not use Liminal Guide as their like choice of quote unquote floating memory, because that's kind of what Liminal Guide is. They are still playing like reprograms and fast cures and that kind of thing, which you can play at fast speed. So Luxem Fire Zander can't actually use Liminal Guides that well, and because of that, I think it's a bit weaker than some of the other Fire decks, which are able to use have other ways to discard the Liminal Guides and get them out.
I guess and then why are we seeing Luxem's, I guess the flip side of like why they've been so successful in a couple of events?
Well,
the games are longer. Like I feel like more matches are longer. A lot of people are going level 3, so then Luxem's getting more value at level 3, right? Like they're getting more time to build. A lot of the decks are based around attack, right, over spells. So then things like Resolute's keeping them in, Banish from Sight. Like they've gained more momentum, I think, because of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, Luxem. It's always been like a solid deck. It kind of pops up every now and then. It's never a bad deck per se. But I think at the moment, at least with the current meta, it's a bit weaker than it's because it doesn't gain anything from DTR, which is what everything else is getting. So
Sure.
it's a little bit weaker than it used to be. Plus, another big reason is Genbu is back, and Genbu is an extremely bad matchup for Luxem.
Sure. Yeah, Genbu
So that's why
is back,
I wouldn't rate
dude.
it too highly.
So does
Yeah,
that drop it
Genbu
down to
is back.
C? If Genbu's back?
No, because that's why it's B. Otherwise, I would consistently kind of keep it in like A tier.
Right.
But right now, I think Fire Luxem is going to struggle.
Do you want
A
to
little
shift
bit.
to Wind Luxem here, or do you just want to keep going with the fire cards?
I guess we can talk about Wind Luxem.
Right.
So Wind Luxem is the other flavor. While they I know we literally argued about this before we did this video, but while they are technically both Luxem decks, they're very, very different. Like literally, I think Wind Luxem only plays 8 Luxem cards, so there's still 52 cards that are completely different to the Fire Luxem. Wind Luxem is more of like a mid-rangey kind of control-y deck, whereas the Fire one is turbo level 3 most of the time, and then you're a control deck using Luxem cards. The Wind one is better placed to deal with things like Genbu, or just it's got tools that it can use to fight off the meta once the meta stabilizes. So I think it's a much better deck. It does have some bad matchups though.
So does it go to A or B plus, like higher of B? Is that what you're?
I would put it at A.
Wow,
But
I guess
we're gonna have to do a
A.
reshuffle because I get the feeling we're gonna have like a million A's soon.
Okay, yeah, okay. You think it's A? All right.
Yeah, I think so.
Suzaku the Phoenix, the Aggro Fire. Bro, I want to S tier this, man.
AFC.
AFC, it's dominates. It has
James
so
is
many wins, bro. I don't know how you're gonna. It has so many wins. I don't like the Peppered Chef combo. I mean, we got Creative Shock Boy, KFC, Min and James like dominate on this deck. How do you not S tier it? It's won so many. That's what I'm gonna say.
I mean, to be fair, they were using the Rile package, but I'd still think it's very good because you can just replace the Rile package with like an extra 12 cards that do damage. Your whole deck says deal damage. Normally, I would put it A because I feel like it can be beaten, but let's put it S because otherwise James is gonna slap me silly, bro. I can't be dissing his deck like that.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna S tier it. I think it's a crazy deck to play. I think it's something you could easily play and catch people off guard. I think high rolling. I think it sits up there. I think it does well. I don't know, with the shift, maybe more people are gonna play water, but even then, I know it was quite hard. Even when I play water into James's Fire, they can still pop off with crazy damage, right? I think it's a great deck.
Yeah,
I think the combo.
I think it is a fantastic deck. The Peppered Chef combo does so much for it as well. Like 12 damage off just one card because your champion already made you a fire chicken. It's pretty good.
True. The Fire Bloom Flourish. This is Diao Chan aggro. I don't know much. It has performed in a couple of events. I guess we're gonna have to really sift through our A tiers here, and this is where I think things like Ascension might move up. I think it's a playable deck. I don't think enough people are playing it. So maybe we're not seeing. I think there's some really cool interactions. Maybe the problem with, like in our previous video, it might be hard to line up and things like other decks seem to catch it off guard or it can't get through the burst window. It doesn't have that big damage. I don't know really here where this one sits.
I think this deck is kind of. It's like it really requires you to draw Fly Bloom Flourish. Otherwise, while it's still playable, it's extremely weak if you don't draw that card.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not a big fan of decks that function like that, where you need to draw a specific card. But also, just playing with 5 influence or like a low amount of influence every time means you're doing less than your opponent is. So I'm not a big fan of this deck, and I never really have been. That means that people are performing with it, so it's okay.
Well, I mean, we put Ensoul at C, remind that. People were performing on that. So are we saying it's better than Ensoul?
Yeah. People were performing on Ensoul pre-ban. They're not. I don't think it's gonna be. We gotta think about what happens after the ban. Ensoul's very difficult to play.
So you think it sits above Ensoul but below the rest? I think that'd be fair. I think all these decks better.
I think it'd be considered B tier.
Oh, Turbo Dragon, dude.
The Dragon,
dude.
Yes.
I'm gonna S-tier all the Seiryuu, Suzaku, and Genbu, dude. I'm gonna S-tier them all. I think this deck is crazy. I think that if you become a master of the Turbo Dragon, you're in a really good spot. I think the way his on attack generate with his Senzu card, which lets him trigger 3 times. Like, I think there's a lot of, you've got attack, you've got spell. Maybe it doesn't S tier, maybe it's A tier. I think it's difficult to play. I know a lot when watching people play, there's a lot of like mechanics with it, interactions people don't understand. And I feel like if I was like, yo, come play this deck, you'll be like, what the hell? And you'll miss interactions. I think there's a difficulty, but does that stop it from S tier? I don't know. Wind.
Well, I mean, I feel like we shouldn't rate stuff based on difficulty. Yeah. As in, if it's a hard deck, but like people get rewarded for playing it, we should ignore the difficulty of the decks.
True. Hey, argue with me, my friend. Where are you gonna put it?
Yeah, I think it's a. It would have been an S tier, but there is only one reason why I wouldn't put it in S tier, and that's literally Win Luxem. So Win Luxem with their Ensnaring Fumes, and also Tristan with their Ensnaring Fumes, kind of cooks this deck.
Yep.
And because like they're basically like very bad matchups for you. And now that before those matchups weren't as common, because no one could really play Win Luxem since it lost to all this Rile decks.
Yep.
But now that Rile is gone and Win Luxem is back, I would put the Dragon at like high A tier, just because it's like very difficult matchup is now back in the meta.
Sure, great argument, dude. I love people in the chat to argue back against you, even drop it down further. That's fine, but it's a solid debate, Justin. That's good, dude.
Yeah. The deck is still extremely consistent, and it has not been hit in any way with the bans. Like even it didn't need Thurible necessarily to function. Yeah. So it's still a very solid deck, and it's very consistent. So I would put it high A tier.
Tristan the Shadow Dancer. Like, I think this is like, for me, is like a very consistent deck. Since its decks come out, it just has really good consistency. That's just how it is. It hasn't really moved up or down. It just has a really good combination. You've got Shadow Strike, which is untauntable. You've got a great level up ability that you have these 2 shadows that can deflect attack damage. So a lot of the attack decks, we're seeing already, like this S tier is attack damage. Seiryuu's on attack. You've got Ascension Crux is about attacking allies. All about attacking. So that's why Tristan, loves, because like, yeah, cool. Hit my shadow. I think around that sometimes is speed. He gets caught off guard, or like you said, spells when Dragon gets to do some casting, or Majestic Spirit's hard to deal with, reduce damage. I feel like it doesn't cross the line. We're not seeing it overly perform. Maybe you could talk about why it's not overly performing. I'd maybe put it high B tier if these are the A tier decks. Like I said, there are so many more decks better than this deck, but I think it can do well. I'd say high B.
High B, yeah. I feel like Tristan is better than the Crux decks. At which point maybe we have to move the Crux decks down, but yeah, Tristan, it's a consistent performer. It's a very good deck. And it probably will stay.
Why do you think it's better than the Crux decks? Like, these are performing well, but Tristan's aren't. Like, why aren't more people playing Tristan then, right? Like, we're saying it not...
People always play Tristan. Every set.
But they're not performing as well. I mean, they're always there, right? But they're never on top. I don't think anybody's on top. You're giving that face, but...
I don't know. I feel like they're on top every now and then.
let's say what was the
I think
Yeti?
just people love playing Crux because I don't know, bro. Merlin just has like these fanatical followers that will always play Merlin no matter what. But Tristan does too.
I mean, in that
But I don't know.
125 Yeti game, the first Tristan hits at 14, and there's already been 8 different fire aggro Lorraines. Like, we go down to what
Lorraine
the
also has like followers no matter what. Lorraine will
games
always be
lead
played.
region here. I don't know. Second was Alec by a win Tristan. There you go, win Gaiju, and then
Yeah.
7th was win Tristan. So that was out of
It's also
88 people in that event. You've also got, let's look at Ascent Taipei. 500's a big one, right? It's a more recent one.
I mean, Taipei had Taipei still had Rile, so it's not it
True.
was considering
We're
this
just
is
talking about
meant to be a tier list moving forward.
True, true.
We can't really rely too much on Taipei's results.
So I guess you move Tristan up here. Like it's next to
Yeah, I think it's
same
around there.
order. We're saying Dragon first, or we're saying sorry, win Tristan first because you think it beats Dragon, and then Tristan, then these two, then CL. That's your order.
Honestly, if I had a rating, I would steal an S, is what I said. But like, it's fine. I feel like Crux is. We could, if there's too many things in A, we could honestly move the Cruxes down to B,
Yeah.
but like high B.
CL is S tier, and it's just
After all that, we've done it, boys. We've pushed the up S. We've convinced him.
Don't convince me. I still, Justin, if you start playing Diana when we play locals and store champs and not CL, the S tier champion, I'm gonna be upset. Okay.
Yeah, but that's because I love Diana. That has nothing to do. Bro, I don't play Husbandos. Who do you think I am? Like, why the hell do I play Husbando when I can play Diana? Doesn't
Okay.
mean I think she's S tier. I don't think she's S tier, honestly. As much as I love her.
Okay, so this is kind of a order, right? This one, we may as well just put Jin in, dude. I don't know what first
No,
one with the
bro,
Jin, dude. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I let him bring Tonoris in. This is like endgame Tonoris to main Tonoris. I don't even know why we're talking about this. Jimmy Lee is rolling rolling his gravy, bringing this up, bro. But I mean, I think that's in Jin. I just don't think it's playable, bro. I don't think it's cool when it pops off. What do you think?
All right. Well, this is so. The reason why this is in here is because it's my hot take. This is a deck that it's one of those ones that we hasn't seen too much play, but I think there's something there, and that's why it's in here. It's specifically, it's because of the looking glass with. I think it's the crossroads that lets you search other domains. So you can play like, for example, you can play Gloamspire Black Market in a water deck because of the crossroads. It's pretty good. Do I think it's like explored enough? No. But and do I think it's S tier? Also no. I think it's maybe like I would like to put it in B just because I think there's something there that's not explored enough. I think that like the deck is good, but I can't confidently say it's too good. But I do want to put it on the tier list because I think people need to explore Tony more. There's something there that just now that Ryle's gone, bro. You know, there's another engine which is that the Crossroads. Surely it's okay, bro. Like, okay, we can argue about this later. We can argue more
Jin
about
and
this. I think
Tony
the
need
deck's good.
help. That's what I wrote down here. Okay, I mean, you're gonna put it over Ensoul. Ensoul is the worst
Yes, I
deck
would
on
put it
one.
over Ensoul.
But to main Tonoris is better
Massive
than
hot
Ensoul.
take, but yes, I would. Like, give Tony some love, man. He's the first shirtless character in the game. Give him some love. I swear I'm not being held at gunpoint by someone who's telling me to say this.
Yeah, what about Nico, dude? We didn't even talk about Nico, dude. Oh my god, is Nico
Oh
back?
yeah, true.
Holy.
I mean, Nico's overshadowed by Genbu, so it's fine.
Right. Gildas is just an ally deck. I think allies, water allies, wind allies, I just think they're not there at the moment. I think that maybe it changes, but a big part of that was Flame Sweep was such a prominent moment in time. If we've still got a Spirit Blade, Majestic Spirit, you've got Wind Tristan, who's all about removing allies back, already on an A tier. How can I put an allies deck competing against these 3 counters? And like Tristan's really good at versing against allies. Like it just allies just aren't there because these decks are doing so much up top. Ardent.
Yeah, I mean,
like
I do have to agree. Allies is everyone knows that I'm a big ally fan. In Melbourne, especially, I was terrorizing Melbourne, our scene here with allies for a long time, but I haven't played it for forever.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is because it has so many bad matchups. Like Luxem is a bad matchup. Like both types, Tristan is a bad matchup. Arisanna is a bad matchup. I mean, she's coming up next, but that's literally the reason why I stopped playing allies. There's just too many bad matchups for allies. I know people are still doing well with it every now and then, pretty consistently. Especially, well, wind ally struggles the most at the moment. Water allies is the better flavor, or more consistent flavor, I guess, and that's also what I would play if I were to. But yeah, allies is tough. It's
Yeah.
tough because you randomly run into that one deck that has too many AoEs.
Yeah, correct.
Like Crux, yeah, Flame Sweep or Polaris. Like, please
Yeah.
nerf the crap out of the card, bro. I'm tired of playing into Polaris. If they get rid of Polaris in this game, I'll play Allies again. But until then, it's a tragedy to play Allies.
Do you think it
I
goes
would
down to
honestly put out.
does it go to C or it just stays low B? Does it beat
Yeah, I would put it
Tonoris?
at C.
Oh,
Bro, I would
C.
like. Okay, actually, that's a hot take, bro. Putting Tonoris above Allies is crazy. But we'll leave it there because when Tonoris does well, I'll tell everyone to watch this video and say it was good. And then they'll flame me for not putting him in S tier. Just watch.
I think it's Tonoris and Genty. We're just gonna. It's there just because
Yeah.
Justin's got secret. This is the Creative Shock tier list plus Justin's secret cooking. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean that we might as well put a hot take in there. It's totally
Hot
not because I have a
take.
Genesis Aegis stick and I want to sell it, guys.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
All right, Arisanna, dude. I mean, I don't even know where to go with this anymore. We got Ciel over here.
Yeah.
Arisanna, I just think is not played. I think all the aggressive decks just absolutely dominate her. She can't get to where she wants to get because of the aggression. Then I would put it, you know, maybe it goes even down to C tier here. Like, I mean, I would put Tonoris down here. So maybe C tier. You can then argue otherwise. I just think it's actually there
Yeah.
was a water fractal Arisanna that did okay, but maybe it then comes to B tier.
I mean, I think Arisanna. So at least like at the start of DTR, she was weaker because the Spectre package was so good and she didn't run it. So everything was outpacing her. With that gone now, though, I think she's fine. I think she's going to be in a good spot, and we'll actually see her come back quite a bit. The only reason we won't see her that much though is because Arisanna tends to be a very hard deck to play. So it's like she's not played by many people, but the people who do play her are very good at her.
Do you push that up to A then from the recent changes? You think with the?
I think she can sit. Honestly, she's an A tier deck, I would say, but it requires like she's a difficult deck. So
and we talked about
like,
difficulty before with Seiryuu, and you were like, doesn't really matter about difficulty.
No, yeah, that's why I said we put her in A because I think
you think she's better than Vanitas, the dominated Rex?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Whew,
Yeah, I think like Arisanna plus. No, yeah, she's good. It's just you'll need to practice her a lot to get her to like the power level to be like A tier, for example.
Okay.
It's a very difficult deck. But
Aetherwing. We haven't seen any performance of this deck except for one that we recently played that did really well. And I think it could be Dark Horse S tier here. Maybe I think A tier. I think the recent changes to the we saw in our last video with Capsoda and the fast play 12 damage. I think that really shifts this card up. I think there's a lot of prevent damage, and I think that really added another line to make her strong. I would say I like it for A tier. I mean, with less now, I say, like you said, a lot of these cards don't have that Rile, the fire drive, and that was kind of dominating why we haven't seen her. Now they're gone. I think she's going to start performing better.
Yeah, I think so too. Diana was. She didn't run the Rile stuff, and with I guess now that Rile's been removed, we have to keep talking about it because just how prevalent it was before. But yeah, she's a deck that was kind of just overshadowed by everything else. But now that everything else is weaker, Diana is gonna be stronger, and we've already seen that with there was a player who won the Yeti regionals playing Diana. Like they literally came first. So it's a good deck. I do think it's once people realize that it's good, they're gonna start putting stuff to break the what's that card called? The water gun.
The Aetherwing.
Yeah, the Aetherwing.
The Aetherwing.
Yep. They're gonna play like Unbroken Mustang and stuff, so that will make it harder to play Diana, and that's why I would probably leave her in like low A tier, for example, because I think there's other decks that are more consistent. Yeah, we can put her in B.
I mean, Okay, we're saying you're writing this video right now. You're watching this, right? Until people start playing, they're not going to counter it. So I feel like you can push it up more in high A tier because people aren't expecting it to do well. Unless they're all watching our video right now. If you came into an arena playing this deck right now, I think you'll catch people out. They're not prepared to destroy that weapon. maybe you're thinking more people play Mustang just generally to deal with Sensor, but there's Sensor decks. But really, a lot of these decks, I guess they kind of still use Sensor, so maybe it gets caught out. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it catches strays from Genbu decks who already run Mustang mainboard.
It
But
performed
yeah,
well.
we can put it in like mid A. Yeah, it's a good deck. It's very consistent. It's like scarily consistent.
I think the deck that Pony played really showed it. That 12 fast play has really like how quickly you killed someone. Maybe if it high rolls, it high rolls, and I think that's going to sneak it up. I think it's got some real potential here. If it's not being countered, it can sneak through some wins. You know.
Yeah, that's right. All right, we can leave it in A because I mean, anytime Dan is an A tier, I'm happy. Sounds
The
good
Mad
to me.
Hatter.
Yeah.
Wind Wake Up. This combination of the deck, so it's all around. Again, some Diana, and it comes down with the boots, and you get some double attack, wake up, shenanigans, 8 swinging, 16 damage, turn to death. We showcased this a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. More people don't play it. I think is it because you're worried about somebody playing taunts, but I feel like this is another deck that's I think can perform well. Maybe low A.
Well, I mean, the problem with this deck is it lacks consistency.
Yep.
We did see it played, and it actually came top 4 at Ascent Taipei. What's his name? Jesse or Yamikin played it and went top 4. But the way he played it was extremely different to everyone else's way of playing it, where he was playing it as like a mid-range windy, like control-y type of deck.
Yeah.
That being said, I spoke to him a little bit, and he said that like it's more of an anti-meta pick. So the way he played it was to counter Rile, and as always, I keep saying Rile is god now. So I think it's maybe like a low B, honestly, just because of the way like once people are aware of it, they'll be able to counter it. They can put up taunts and stuff. They can, I guess, like quickly kill the mad matter. Kill
So
stuff
you're putting this equivalent to your Dark Horse Tonoris, is what you're putting it next to, by the way. It's equivalent to Tonoris.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, sounds good to me. Like I love the deck. I think it's very funny when it works, but it has consistency issues. So
and it's very countable. I think more people are playing in a meta where everyone's doing attack, taunts are prevalent, intercepts are prevalent. Flippy keeps there. There's so many cards that are just generally in decks because we're in a meta that's all about attacking, right? It's all about swinging, so that's going to make it extra harder to break through. And so I think it's a good call.
Yeah, and like in line with all the other stuff we were saying, it also loses to ensnaring fumes. Like if you if you put the boots on an ally and your opponent just plays ensnaring fumes, which like the Wind Assassin decks are doing now that they're more prevalent.
Yeah.
Good luck playing Mad Hatter. Yeah, there's that.
Burst Asunder. So our Fractal Water Diana deck, Diao Chan deck. I don't know what this deck. It was so dominant, and we lost. What did we lose? We lost that Fractal that had the glimpse, and then that just like killed it. Right? Is it killed? Like, is it? I feel like it's still a good deck. I think it sits at B, man. I don't know. I think like now that Ryle's dipped away, it can sneak in. Like I think we'll stop playing it altogether because Ryle was so dominant. So then maybe it will start appearing again. Like Glimmering Refusal is so strong. Spell, if a lot of people are playing around taunts, you don't care for taunts. I would say it sits in high B. You can throw it down if you'd like.
No, I agree with that. I think it's like Fractals has always been a strong deck, and some of its cards are extremely powerful. I think its biggest issue is consistency because it lost that Fractal.
Torpid? Is it Torpid? No.
No, I don't think it was Torpid. It was the other one. Dissonant Fractal.
Yeah,
it lost that, and then it lost Lost in Thought. So those are like two big consistency cards for the deck. So sometimes it's a bit inconsistent, but that being said, it was performing still decently. At Ascent Taipei, I'm pretty sure there was like players who made day 2 and actually came within like the top 30 players playing Fractals. So
yeah,
still a very solid deck. But it has, I mean, I guess it loses to Dragon. Or rather, it's unfavored into Dragon. But yeah, when I think if you're skilled at the deck, it's still extremely good. But it is also a bit inconsistent, so I'll leave it in B. But I would say leave it in B.
The slimes, dude. Actually, the slime season, guys. So many people hated the slime season, but it was actually the most funnest season. I think everybody was playing the game. I think everybody enjoyed it. They looked really cool. I think it was the most time I thought people were having fun, right? Even though people it was like, oh, Storm Slimes are so RNG. Like, you know what I mean? Like, We got fire chickens killing you level 2 and shit. Like, come on. You know what I mean? People need to complain about, Rile the Abyss. Now, that thank God that got banned, but I just miss slimes, Justin. I just miss them.
Yeah, I missed them too.
I would dark horse
I
them
did
like
play
you,
Slimes
but they're
back in the
just
day.
they're just Jin level. Maybe they not as I think they play. I don't think they're better than Ensoul, but they're just down here. They're just not it anymore.
Yeah, I think there's definitely issues with the deck. It's not what it used to be by any means.
No.
There are actually like there's a fire slimes list that was going around that does well, but yeah, I think it's a C tier deck until proven. It's basically just put it in C until proven different. Otherwise,
Yeah. All right. Genbu.
absolute powerhouse of the deck.
I think Genbu is super solid now that Rile of Abyss has been removed. I think you are
100%.
you have the mill whole mechanic is just super powerful, right? You've got a massive taunt. Now you're saying like ensnaring fumes is kind of a way to kind of I don't know if it's a hard matchup here, but I guess it's not but ensnaring fumes doesn't stop your Genbu package. It just stops the attack. Where idea is you're just trying to mill them out, right? This is a secondary. It's just a nice taunts. They're cool. And I mean, you've got Polaris, you've got Tabula, you've got so much negates. You then have the ability to use swing with him if you want. But yeah, I think mill is just a mechanic that just dominates. It's like, I don't know, you ever watch much League of Legends? Don't know why I'm talking about League of Legends right now, but there's a character in the game called Rise who like scales with like mana, which like no other thing does. And then when you get Faker on it, he's just dominating the board. Like everybody stepped off Genbu because Rile the Abyss is dominating, but now it's like, well, Rile, I'm just going to go to good old faithful Genbu, the Black Tortoise, and I'm just going to have a fun time.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I can't believe you just mentioned the Faker and Rise, but yeah.
That's the biggest analogy. What do you mean?
That's an analogy that I didn't get it, but anyway. Yeah, I do agree. It's a very solid deck, bro.
How do you not get Faker right, dude? Everyone surely plays GA is 30 plus like me, right? Come on, we lived the times of EA Sports. Come on, guys.
True. Yeah, I also played like League for 10 years, so that one hit a bit too close to home. Brought back all my childhood trauma. Self-made, but yeah. No, yeah, Genbu, I agree. If I had to pick one deck to say it's like likely to be the best deck in the format, I would personally say Genbu. And like reason being, you don't necessarily need the Genbu to win the game, but the deck is called that because it revolves around the Fate Stone, and then you have alternate options to win the game. Like you can mill your opponent out, you can beat them down with like allies and the Tideholder Claymore. Like Genbu isn't the only way to win the game. And that's why I think it's such a good deck because it's a very flexible deck. It has a lot of different alternate win cons, and it's very difficult to play into because of that. Because even if you clear the whole board, you might just get milled out the next turn.
Yep. I think that's safe to say there. The last one I have here is our suited allies. I think that sits somewhere in B tier, maybe C tier. I think it's a deck that it's really fun when it pops off, but it's just inconsistent. And I think there's a lot more. Hopefully, with the new set, we'll see more suited allies, but just quite isn't there. But I've seen definite decks like I played against where you get caught off guard, they flop off, high roll, you're dead. Like it can feel really nice, and then you don't get that, it feels really shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think suited is like kind of consistent. Honestly, it's pretty good.
Consistent.
Yeah.
What do you start rating it above? Like what? Looking at the decks, looking at the overall tier list.
Probably high B tier. And like so, beforehand, the reason why suited wasn't doing too well was because it was kept down by flame sweeps, which are going to be a bit less prevalent, but they are still going to exist. So it's a deck that really, if your board sticks, it's insane. But if your board is cleared, which it is pretty easy to do with flame sweep, or even Arisanna's Polaris will clear the board. Suited will struggle a bit more.
So that's the same as we said with Mad Hatter, right? With these ally decks, there's so much counter. Like there's just too much that just draws them down, right?
Yeah, but suited is, for some reason, it can remake its board like 3 times. So suited is probably the best flavor of allies that exists right now.
Sure.
I would probably put it in like, I don't know. I would put it somewhere in like mid or high B tier. I think there's a lot of potential for it to do well, especially if people just like start ignoring it or forgetting about it.
Well, let's look over. This is our real tier list right now, Justin. What are you looking? Remember, Tonoris over here, super dark horse, Justin's cooking, and then also S tier any version of Ciel, which I'm still on the fence with here. But hey, you've won more games than I have, so. But I think that's a pretty good tier list. I think the biggest thing about this tier list is there's so much flavor in this A to S tier that a lot of people. There's a lot of decks that are being played right now. It's a healthy. I feel like. Do I want to say healthy meta? I don't know. I feel like it's. When I've only been playing my second year in this game, and when I've seen events where it was like top 30 are all Water Die Chan, or Slimes was like 40 cards, like when Slimes was big, like that wasn't a healthy meta. When I see this right now, there's a lot of different decks being played. Maybe less. I'm talking about like, of course, Rile still dominated, so now that's gone. It's now that's going to be like, does Genbu, just everybody plays Genbu, right? Like, is that how it's flicked? But there's all these decks that people are trying to fit in. I think this is a pretty good tier list.
Yeah, I definitely agree with like. I think even Ryle was a relatively healthy meta, even though every deck had the Ryle engine. There was still like 5 different types of Ryle decks, and then you had the Wind decks popping up.
Yep.
And you still had people trying to make Genbu work during that time. But now that Ryle is gone, it's actually like kind of crazy how much diversity we're seeing. Like normally making a tier list with 3 things in S never happens, and like what is that? 7 decks in A tier.
Yeah.
So like in S and A tier alone, there's 10 different decks, which we can expect to see. And like I don't know, I would call that healthy. There are different elements as well. There's water, wind, and fire represented finally. So I don't know. I think it's just we've reached the point where it's very healthy. Hopefully, we don't end up just stabilizing and finding one thing that beats everything else. But yeah, I think the meta's reached a nice spot for now, and it'll be cool to see like events with just a very wide diversity. Like when you see those pie graphs of like different champion breakdowns or different spirit breakdowns, I'm hoping it's like very even amongst everything.
Yeah. Well, it's been our
should be a
tier
fun time.
list. I've been Mr. Ray. That's been Justin. Guys, I'd love you to argue about the tier list in our comments. It's all about helping the community out. So if you're a new player, surely this was educational. If you're an experienced player, surely this triggered you enough to make some comments so we can boost the views. Share it to your friends. Tell everybody about it. We'd love to see your tier list video up against our tier list video. And also 1v1 Justin, the king of Genbu. So please, thank you so much for coming, Justin. And I guess we'll see us all next week, guys.
Yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys. And yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on what the meta will be, because that'll be very interesting. And if you disagree with any of our takes, like if you think Tony should be S tier and actually put Jack's opinions down about how it's a bad deck, then let us know. Because Tony should be S tier. High key.
Oh my god. All right. See you guys later. Bye.
Yep. See ya.